This man is Ted Bundy, an infamous serial killer and rapist, terrorized the United States, particularly in the Pacific Northwest. Bundy was responsible for at least 20 known killings, but the true number of his victims may be much higher, potentially even over 100. His preferred method was to rape and beat his victims before murdering them. Disclaimer: the content of this video is based on various sources. Viewer discretion is advised, as the video may contain graphic and disturbing content. While the exact timeline of Bundy's killing spree is disputed, most experts agree that it began in 1974. During this time, numerous women in Seattle and Oregon went missing. Witnesses reported seeing a young man named Ted with several of the victims before their disappearances. Bundy would often feign injury or ask for help to lure his unsuspecting victims into his car before attacking them. In 1969, Bundy started a 6-year relationship with Elizabeth Klopfer, a single mother he met in a Seattle bar. Despite Klopfer's alcoholism and struggles, Bundy was said to be warm and loving towards her and her daughter. However, by 1974, Klopfer began to suspect Bundy's involvement in the prominent local murders. When she confronted him about his odd behavior, such as keeping a meat cleaver in his desk, he used his charm to deflect her concerns. Klopfer even went to the police with her suspicions, but they didn't believe Bundy was capable of such heinous acts. Despite growing distant when Bundy moved to Olympia, the two remained together. In 1975, Klopfer went to the police with evidence that finally helped to apprehend the notorious serial killer. Bundy had confessed over the phone to Klopfer, revealing that he had attempted to murder her and that he couldn't resist his disturbing urges when he felt his sickness building in him, as she later wrote. She finally cut all ties with Bundy and wrote a book about their tumultuous relationship. In the autumn of 1974, Bundy headed to Utah to attend law school, and soon after his arrival, women started to vanish. The following year, police pulled him over and discovered a stash of burglary tools in his vehicle, including a crowbar, a face mask, rope, and handcuffs. He was apprehended for possessing these items, and the authorities began to tie him to far more heinous crimes. In 1975, Bundy was arrested for abducting Carol DaRonch, one of the few women who had managed to escape from him. He was convicted and given a 1 to 15-year prison sentence. Bundy made 2 escapes from prison in 1970. The first time, he was facing murder charges for the death of a young Colorado woman and decided to represent himself in court. During a visit to the courthouse library, he leaped out a window and made his initial getaway. He was recaptured 8 days later. In December, Bundy made a daring escape from custody once again. He crawled through a hole he had made in the ceiling of his cell, having lost over 30 pounds to squeeze through the small opening. Authorities didn't realize Bundy was missing for 15 hours, giving him a significant head start on the police. After his second prison escape, Bundy headed to Tallahassee, Florida. On the night of January 14, 1978, he broke into the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University, where he brutally attacked 4 young women, killing 2 of them. Bundy struck again on February 9, kidnapping and murdering 12-year-old Kimberly Leach. These shocking crimes marked the end of his deadly spree, as the police pulled him over that February. The most incriminating evidence tying Bundy to the 2 Chi Omega murders were the bite marks on one of the victims, which were conclusively matched to Bundy. In July of 1979, Ted Bundy was found guilty of the heinous Chi Omega murders at FSU, and the judge sentenced him to death, not once but twice. Bundy received yet another death sentence in 1980 for the abduction and murder of 12-year-old Kimberly Leach. Bundy, however, did not go down without a fight. He tried to appeal his case all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, but his efforts were in vain. In a desperate attempt to avoid Florida's electric chair, he even offered to provide information on some of the unsolved murders, but it was too little, too late. On January 24, 1959, Bundy was put to death around 7 a.m. at the Florida State Prison in an electric chair sometimes known as Old Sparky. Outside the prison, crowds celebrated his demise and even set off fireworks after the execution. Bundy's body was cremated in Gainesville, and no public ceremony was held. Before he was executed, he requested that his ashes be scattered in the Cascade Mountains of Washington state, where he committed some of his heinous crimes and murdered at least 4 of his victims. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the darkest depths of the criminal world. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you think. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to follow us on social media for even more content and updates.